Duke team the Avengers? Because it feels like they're on a mission. What do you think?
They don't have their capes on to start, but we'll see how it progresses today. They do have their traditional Duke blues. Home whites for NC State, the #1 seed. The 1 seeds have fared very well the last 25 years, winning 18 of the 25 championships. Underway in the first of our 3 finals with the SEC and the Big 12 to follow.
2 different defensive looks here. For NC State, more of a softer cover on the defensive end. They have to be good off the bounce.
They run with 4 guards, and Tilda Trieger, much improved to start out in the 5 spot. They had to go deep in their bench yesterday, and the bigs responded big time. And here is James off the bounce.
Duke is also a tremendous offensive rebounding team. They're going to have to make shots. They're going to get them because the actions they run offensively are going to put NC State at a deficit on the defensive end.
Only 1 senior out there for Duke. The youngsters have aged quickly. Ashlon Jackson had 6 triples in the first meeting between these 2 sides. Duke will look to improve on a poor 3-point shooting performance in the semis. Here's Saniya Rivers. The drive, the dish, James wide open, in and out. Adrenaline early for both these sides, but they are playing their 3rd game in 3 days. As Kara Lawson looks on, back-to-back 20-win seasons. They were oh so close, Debbie, a couple of years ago to winning the regular season, lost it the last game of the year, and now a chance for Kara and these Blue Devils to get their first ring.
Really nice out-of-bounds play. NC State doing a good job early against the scout, having 1 day to prep, but as you mentioned earlier about this game in the regular season was phenomenal.
Offensive foul called on Reigan Richardson. They're going to need the senior to stay in the game today as Wes Moore looks on. Only Gino Auriemma has more wins amongst active coaches in college basketball. A win today for Wes, and he will tie the all-time NC State great head coach Kay Yao with a 4th tournament title. And he'll do it in 6 years if they get one. Brooks in the lane, and Zoe hangs and hits.
You know, Duke is typically up the line, and they're playing a little bit more in the gaps to start the game. I think they're concerned about NC State's ability off the bounce.
Jackson taken away by Rivers. Regular season matchup was in the 80s as James hits from outside, and it's a great start for the Pack and a 7-0 run to open up this ACC final. Bank that's your ally. And by Subaru. Love, it's what makes Subaru, Subaru. Now there's one more bracket slap to go. Who's going to get the last one of the ACC tournament? Duke and NC State as we look at what you need to know, presented by Inuit TurboTax. It's been around a while. It's the oldest tournament in women's hoops. A combined 35 championship game appearances with 15 titles. North Carolina, the most of the active teams with 9. Maryland, when they were in the league, had 10.
Good timeout by Kara Lawson. Settle down her team. They come out and they run flex action, which is a baseline cut, then a pin down screen, and they get a wide open 15-footer.
First bucket for the Blue Devils after a couple of early turnovers. 3 different players have already scored for NC State.
Kara Lawson staring down Wes Moore because these coaches know each other's plays, signal calls, all of that so well.
Oluchi Okananwa, she played over 30 minutes off the bench yesterday, and she'll draw a foul. Of course, for both these coaches, a connection back to the late, great Pat Summitt. Kara Lawson played for her at Tennessee, and Wes, a longtime coach at Chattanooga, and was around Coach Summitt in Knoxville a time or two. Wes now in his 36th year as a head coach, and perhaps one of the most underappreciated. But with the resume he's put together the last few years, including a trip last year from unranked in the preseason all the way to the Final Four in the postseason.
Wes Moore has been a head coach 36 years, and 15 of those seasons he's been coach of the year in that respective league, including his 4th time as coach of the year in the ACC. So interesting, Kay Yow's a Naismith Hall of Famer, but she never won the ACC Coach of the Year award.
Okananwa on the drive. You want energy for 40 minutes. That's the player that'll give it to you.
I mean, she only knows one speed, and that is fast, and she's on the Aziaha James matchup right now. You're gonna have to set a really good screen to be able to free Aziaha right now in the offense.
She spent a lot of time yesterday trying to bother Hannah Hidalgo. And back-to-back assignments on potential All-Americans for her.
I mean, watch Okananwa right here. Nice job of losing Zoe Brooks with a hard cut. And then a strong move inside to finish with her offhand. She is so athletic, so quick, and really good rebounder from the guard position.
And this is where they win games. Her, along with Jaden Donovan, a member of the All-ACC defensive team, they locked down Notre Dame yesterday. Rivers picks off the pass. 3 turnovers in 4 minutes for Duke. Hayes for 3, got it.
Madison Hayes hits the most timely, momentum-building threes for NC State.
4 of the 5 starters have scored out to a 10-5 lead.
NC State so far has matched the energy that Duke has played with, especially on this end of the floor.
Okananwa. Donovan, weak side rebound. Tiana Mayer, a 20-point performance in the regular season matchup, and this is where NC State's got to be able to hang with Duke. They are fabulous on the offensive glass.
The offensive rebound, 42% of the shots they miss. That's an outstanding number. And NC State better rebound with 2 hands today.
Rivers directing traffic, and she'll launch and hit another 3 for NC State. That's their 3rd already.
And her 3rd in the last 2 days. She has shot the ball well in the postseason, has Saniya Rivers.
They only average 6 a night. Saniya is just getting over a cold, too, looking better and better every day.
A couple of IV bags helps out a little bit.
Here's Mayer. Thomas tried to force that one inside, deflected out of bounds, 5 on the shot clock.
This is when you know you're a confident shooter right here. You get a piece of the paint and you kick it to the corner, and then right here after directing some traffic, call your own number once in a while. Saniya Rivers shooting it well outside the arc.
Donovan, they gotta hurry. Okananwa gets the screen, gets the shot up in time. And that's going to be NC State ball.
You better check her. I mean, she almost needs to be face guarded on the glass. She's so active.
Here comes Toby Fournier. Limited minutes yesterday. We'll see if the ACC's Freshman of the Year has a bigger impact here in the final. The leading scorer for the Blue Devils comes off the bench and is just a freshman.
Hard hedge by Duke. Good tag and recover by the Blue Devils, really connected on this end of the floor.
James, a switch now, Donovan defending. Forces her to settle for a jumper. Remember in the regular season game, Debbie, we talked about assists really were not that important because NC State crushed them off the dribble in that first meeting.
You have to invite and welcome the pressure that Duke is going to bring, which means you may have to make plays off the bounce. Dribble entries to the wing, dribble entries or high post entries. You got to be able to set up a backdoor cut once in a while also. I call it the pressure package, and you start building on that pressure package in June for moments like this. Isn't that why all these kids go to summer school?
Fournier going to work on her first touch inside. Trieger was there defensively. These teams played each other 3 times last year, so there's plenty of familiarity. In fact, NC State knocked Duke out of this tournament in the early rounds a year ago. Rivers short, and here comes Okananwa.
Good job by Rivers to get in the stance, keep the ball in front, allow NC State to get organized behind her.
Fournier, up and in. She's not looking to pass, Debbie. She's looking to score.
She's never looking to pass, and she's trying to get over that left shoulder every time. And with her athleticism, she is a tough check on the block, even for 6'6".
6'2" out of Toronto. Had 11 points in the regular season meeting and drew 8 fouls. Brooks had it knocked loose.
Watch Toby Fournier right here. She takes 2 strong dribbles to the midline, then spins back, and the spin is so quick that even if you dig, you're most likely going to pick up a foul. You're not going to get there in time. You know she's not trying to pass it.
Yeah, that's the scout now on her. The teams have seen her. You dig down with a guard. James a little late and off the mark. So after a hot shooting start for NC State, they've cooled. And the Blue Devils trying to work their way back into it. Okananwa, boy, she is aggressive, looking to score, and Madison Hayes is there with a block.
That's a tremendous defensive effort by Hayes, because the skip over the top means you're late on the closeout, but Madison Hayes moves her feet, stays in front, and forces a tough 2. That's a contested 2, and that's a really good defensive job.
Jackson hits the triple. Good news for Duke.
She made 6 in the February Play for K game in Reynolds.
She also had a 6 3-point affair in their win against K-State. Brooks scores on the drive. That's where they're most effective. Fournier walked.
Same move, this time she travels. Watch this right here, good dribble handoff, hands down. Jackson is more of a shooter than she is a driver. You play her as a shooter first.
2 minutes to go here in the first quarter. 4 baskets and 4 turnovers for Duke. Rivers tipped up her own miss. Give her a field goal and a rebound on that one.
There's some athletes out here today.
She was up by the rim.
Ice in the ball screen, trying to keep it on the same side of the floor.
Cable had it, lost it off of her leg out of bounds.
Saniya Rivers, so long, rangy, athletic, and determined to get herself in a position to score. This is a brilliant move off the bounce, and she stays with it to finish it.
Number 2 in blue, Vanessa DeJesus checks in. She was a nice spark in the semis for Duke. 7 points. Trying to defend on Brooks. That's a tough call. And it's the biggest lead now for State.
NC State knows that Kara Lawson's trying to weak all that middle third ball screen action, which means you're trying to make them go left. They overplay the midline to make her go left. I'm taking that off the bounce right to the ACC logo every time.
I don't know about you, but she can.
Well, it'd take me a while to get there, but I can get there.
Cable pulls up. Not the shot selection that Kara Lawson was looking for there. And now a chance for NC State to counter. James wants a post up, and now she'll step out. And here comes a Trigger screen. Taken away by DeJesus. A lazy pass there from Saniya. About a 6-second differential shot and game clock to close out the first.
A really good job by DeJesus to jump the dribble handoff. They go a little floppy action on the baseline into their horns.
She'll step back, feeling confident. And that's going to be over the back. Good box out by Rivers.
I love the sportsmanship there by Saniya Rivers. Play hard, get knocked down, pick them back up. You can knock them down, and you can also pick them back up.
That'll be the first on Oluchi.
Duke doesn't want to let this get too much more than 3-4 possessions, because then it puts a lot of pressure on their offense.
Who do you look to here? Is this Rivers creating? One shot to go.
I'm opening it up, spreading it out, letting her go.
Trigger for 3, top of the key. Well played in our first quarter of our first game of our championship triple header.
The 4 of them. So NC State's got to do a better job there, and they got to continue taking care of the basketball.
And State made them pay for every one of those turnovers in the first quarter. Off the miss, here comes NC State. ACC Championship game. Duke looking for number 9, NC State looking for number 8, and it would be a 4th in 6 years with whispers of dynasty around Reynolds Coliseum, with James making plays like that, an ooh and an ah from the crowd on the cross.
I would love to have the crowd soundtrack when Aziaha James has the ball in her hands, because it is magical sometimes, especially in Reynolds. But it's not bad here.
A 36-point game against Duke this year, a 33-point game against the Blue Devils last year. Looking for more, got it.
Here she goes. She is incredible. I think she's one of the top 10 players in the country, certainly one of the top guards in the ACC. Doesn't get the respect nationally that she should, but I've got her on my top 10 All-American team.
She's got the spotlight today in this championship Sunday with the SEC final and the Big 12 final to follow. Reigan Richardson muscles it up and in on the drive.
Really nice job rejecting the screen. Good job on the weak side, keeping the weak side defense occupied. No help at the midline. Nice take.
State by a dozen early in this second quarter. Here's James getting another touch. It's Richardson defending on her. We've seen several different players give it a go, and this is a big mismatch. Around and out over Cable.
Aziaha James, little hesitation, little crossover, pull up, mid-range, bucket. How about this for 3? Catch and shoot. Too soft on the cover in transition. She's just getting started.
Playing in her 127th game at NC State, the senior out of Virginia Beach. Some of these players were on the bench for their championship back in 2022. They also were on the floor last year in the final, losing to Notre Dame. They have the big game experience here in Greensboro, and they are leaning on that early.
Duke is putting a lot of pressure on NC State in the full court, but they're going to be open for shots. It's what we came on the air talking about. They're going to have to make them. NC State's cover defensively is not as aggressive as Duke's. So if you run good action, you will get some open looks.
Brooks looking for Lorena Aru on the pick and the roll. Aru, perhaps her 2 best games of the season have come against Duke. And then yesterday in the semis against Carolina. Oh, they got to burn a timeout.
No, Westmore doesn't like that. And they burned a timeout against Duke in the first game, and he was upset about it. He knows he needs them for a late game situation.
Duke's got 8 of them. NC State's got 7 of them. The Blue Devils haven't been to the mountaintop since 2013. While the Wolfpack are working on a dynasty here. The Blue Devils have the record with 5 consecutive. And North Carolina then followed that in the mid-2000s with a run of 4 in a row. 4 in 6 years would be awfully darn good. Brooks to Rivers on the drive and kick. Duke's got to get it going at this end of the floor, Debbie. Just 26% shooting.
Well, I'm wondering why Toby Fournier is not on the floor, because I thought she was effective scoring on the block. She is their leading scorer.
That's Ashlon Jackson, her second bucket. 8 for James, 7 for Rivers, 6 for Brooks. This dynamic backcourt all showing up early in this one.
Hard hedge right there, and Aziaha James attacks the outside hip. And Wu's got to catch that. And at least she looks at Aziaha James. She goes, my bad. Yeah, she's a big roll to the rim for NC State and occupies a lot of space.
Been trying to fill that post since Alyssa Cunane graduated a couple of years ago, and Trieger and Mallory Collier and Owu all getting a crack at it here in the ACC tournament. Brooks bumped, foul Donovan. Three on Duke in this first half, and nary a personal foul on NC State. They're #1 in the country still, I believe, and fewest, #2, fewest fouls per game at under 10. James tries to drive and travels.
Ooh. It was a pretty lot of contact
nonetheless.
Yes, and when the basket went in, I thought she was going to get an and one.
Oh, that's a lot of ball for Donovan. Jackson trying to take charge, and she's doing just that.
She was the one doing most of the conversation in the huddle on that report that Taylor gave us, and she has delivered back-to-back buckets.
She's been in double digits 5 games in a row.
See how they're trying to push Saniya Rivers to the left with their body language?
Oh, good. Pump fake by Brooks. The defender flies by, and she drops a 3.
NC State has multiple perimeter scoring weapons, and Westmore can dial up just about anything he wants over there.
Jackson deep 3. Heat check, not the right temperature. But then they're going to get a takeaway and a race to the other end. Jackson running with Okananwa for the lay-in.
That's all Okananwa right there. She got the back tap from behind and forced Rivers to turn it over. How about the change of direction, the sprint one way and turn around going the other way?
That's their game. One of the big statistics for them in their revenge tour is forcing turnovers and then getting points off of said turnovers. That's a travel there.
You got to rebound with 2 hands. You got to protect the basketball. And this is just a nice pump fake finish. And there's a steal from behind. And then look how quickly Duke converts from their D to their O.
Under 5 to go in the first half. Thomas with a big hedge. James will try for 3. And Donovan fouled by Owu.
It's the right read right there, though. It's a good look for James. Because Saniya Rivers has the size to see over the top of all that ball screen action, and the tag was from the strong side. Okananwa didn't get back in time for James to have that open look. She makes that 50% of the time.
Jackson with 7. And a couple of buckets in a row. Richardson coming off the curl, and the shot curls around and out.
Another wide open look. You do all the hard work, accelerate NC State late, and you still can't make that shot.
Trieger, well, both defenders left her, and then Thomas comes back and gets whistled for the foul. Substitution, so here comes Fournier back in the game. Let's keep an eye on her offensively now for the Blue Devils. Zam Jones, the freshman, also out there for NC State. Hey, coming up next, 3 Eastern. This game will follow us, the SEC Women's Championship and then the Big 12 title game. So on deck, we've got Texas and South Carolina, probably 2 #1 seeds, and a possible Final Four preview. And then Baylor and TCU. And what a year it's been for the Horned Frogs, winning a regular season title, now looking to match it up with a tournament championship. And Haley Van Lith, the Big 12 Player of the Year at her 3rd school.
Texas and South Carolina split during the regular season. each winning on their home court. That's going to be a good one at 3 o'clock right after us.
Baby. Madison Booker, the player of the year. And boy, the balance again. Everybody seems like somebody different every day for South Carolina, coming up with big numbers.
A lot of depth.
Yeah.
56 points off the bench yesterday.
How about that? Brooks with the step back. Got it. They're going to give her a 2 there. Jackson, oh, the defender went under, and she buries a 3. James knows she whiffed on that assignment.
Well, she and Rivers were confused. You could see that Wes Moore was asking them to switch on that action. Ashlon Jackson.
They have 6 different players capable of a 20-point game. Who's it going to be night in and night out? It's looking like Jackson today. Rivers finds a seam in the defense, missed it. Duke trying to get it back into single digits. Okananwa, she hits a triple.
Really good push by the Blue Devils in transition. Carol Lawson really encouraging her team right now on the defensive end.
Blue Devils have cut the 14-point deficit in half. Brooks, Trieger, nice step through. Fournier with a block. Defense trying to lead to some offense. Fournier, no. James gets to the baseline and scores, count it. Donovan Lake coming over to help. An aerial display for her 9th and 10th points.
She just has an incredible knack for turning the corner. Gets it high off the glass before the contact. Look at her eyes, never takes her eyes off the target.
And that's foul number 2 on Jaden Donovan. Under 2 minutes to go in the half.
We've seen this look before from Aziaha James. She's already taken 11 shots for NC State. She's got 10 points with a couple of triples.
4 of the starters have not come out of the game yet in the first half, and now Rivers will take a seat. .11 now for Aziaha James. Back up to 10.
See, NC State in the gaps. Got to know. Okananwa just hit a 3, so you got to get out on her. And you got to know where Jackson is. She rejected this screen last time.
Fournier coming off the screen to post up. Rebounds the miss, and then misses the layup. It'll stay here, looks like with a fresh 30. Nope, they're going to reset it to 20. Don't forget, coming up, our halftime report. The studio crew will break down that first half and get you ready for the rest of the day. Kelsey, Muffet, Ivory, Kelly, ready to go. That's the first on Toby Fournier. Wes Moore calls a play. Kara Lawson sees it. Resets the defense.
Well, Zam Jones doesn't know what the play is, so she's standing there looking like, just get out of the way then.
Yep.
You know, like, just get out of the way.
Hayes, no. And that's going to be a foul on Zoe Brooks. That'll be her first.
Nothing is more frustrating to a coach than being in March and their players not knowing the sets.
She's the one that just came in to replace Rivers a moment ago. Okananwa hits the open jumper, and that's Jones. Didn't get out on her. Final minute of this first half. And it looks like James stepped out of bounds and may have hurt her hip on the landing. An athletic trainer will come out, and Wes Moore as well. The All-America candidate, leading scorer for the Wolfpack.
Well, the official had a great, saw through the play, and see she steps out of bounds right there. It's a good call by the official. It's a hard fall by James.
Joe Vasili, Paulina Spurlock, Tierra Cruz, our officiating crew today.
Aziaha James took a hard hit to the head yesterday, went back to the locker room, returned to the game.
Oh, wow, and they are going to help her down to the other end of the floor and probably right back to the locker room. And the concern from the NC State faithful, not putting much pressure at all, and they're going to go ahead and lift her that right leg, unable to put any weight on it. So NC State's leading scorer escorted off here late in this first half. Duke across midcourt here in this final minute. Been trailing throughout by as many as 14. Fournier, the double comes from the guard, the kick out, Okananwa, no. And that'll be a foul on Mayer. That's the 5th team foul of the quarter. Oh boy, into a wheelchair for Aziaha James.
Well, in the absence of James for the game right now, Zoe Brooks has 11 points. We know what a good free throw shooter Brooks is. Most improved in the ACC this year.
78% hits a pair there. She leads all scorers now with 13.
When Jordan Wood comes in the game, usually that's an indicator they're going to try to run a play for her to get a 3.
Shot clock's off.
Watch for Wood on the flare screen. There she is.
Gets herself lost, weak side. Rivers doesn't get out to close, and Wood hits the 3. The heave at the buzzer. Perfect execution by Duke to get that shot off, and it's 36-29 at the half. To go to start this second half after an apparent leg or hip injury late in the second quarter.
Okananwa starts the second half, Beth, on Zoe Brooks.
Brooks and James scored 15 in the second quarter. Jackson and Okananwa scored 14 in the second quarter.
I like what Kara Loss is doing right here with Jackson on the top of the floor. Now she's got an offensive package on the court with Jackson running the point on top. NC State with that soft cover, likes to go under.
Richardson, nice pocket pass to Thomas.
Really nice. Right in the middle third, executed perfectly.
Her first bucket on the pick and roll. And it is a 5-point game. It was once a 14-point NC State lead after they got off to a hot start to open the ball game. Hayes swatted by Donovan.
Middle third offense executed perfectly by Duke. Here's the dribble handoff right here. She's going to turn the corner, and the roll comes right down the middle of the lane. Watch this right here. Screen, roll, perfect execution, NC State in drop coverage. And because it's so tight below the free throw line, can't tag from the weak side and help.
Keeping an eye on how effective James is Here she is with the ball, spinning into the lane, hanging and missing that effort, but she'll pop right back up. Duke on the counter. Jackson calling for it, getting it, and hitting it.
I'm telling you, when Okananwa has the ball in full speed up the court, she looks like a running back with her shoulder pads over her thigh pads, and she is downhill.
One possession game now in the ACC Championship.
NC State's got to match the toughness that Duke has showed up here in the second half.
Here come the Blue Devils again, rebound and run. Donovan, Thomas running the floor, getting to the lane and missing the layup.
Principle of verticality at the rim.
James loses it.
That's twice she's hit the deck again. Now she gets a piece of it. That's going to be NC State's ball. Speed in real time. Look at the push. She occupied 3 defenders because she sprinted past the entire NC State defense with the ball.
Rivers from Trieger, she'll try for 3, and Saniya hits it.
Saniya Rivers just showing everybody in the WNBA that she can shoot the 3 off a flare. Well done.
Terrific start to our day. The SEC Championship coming up next. The Big 12 Championship after that. Last chance to impress the selection committee before the selection show 1 week from today, as Okananwa is having herself an ACC tournament. She's got 13.
We've seen that look on her face before too. She is dialed in.
Brooks off the cross. NC State missing their shots here to open up the second half. Duke to tie it up, short.
Undersized on the front line is Duke, but they all rebound out of their area. The ball doesn't have to be right above their head, and there's the flare screen I'm talking about. And Okananwa on the other end.
That Rivers jumper, the lone basket, they start out the third quarter 1 for 5 against this Duke defense. James, big curl, and draws the foul.
I love what Saniya Rivers told Taylor going to the locker room, having confidence that she's tough, she'll be back. Aziaha James, this game's too big and too important, and you work too hard to be in moments like this. She's hit the deck twice hard here in the second half, but she seems to be fine.
Had herself a fantastic postseason a year ago in the NCAA tournament and the run to the Final Four. And we talked about the selection committee watching these championship games. Next Sunday, we will have the selection special, 8 p.m. Eastern on March 16th. Revealing the field, we'll find out who's in, who's out, who's hosting that first weekend. Starts at 8 Eastern here on ESPN, a bonus hour of coverage at 9 on ESPN2. That Texas-South Carolina game coming up next, implications for the overall #1 seed in the field. Okananwa swatted by Rivers. Saniya spins, short.
Good hustle by Madison Hayes. Keep up with Okananwa. And she can single-handedly change the tempo and the rhythm of the game. Just her energy and her effort alone.
Jackson weaving high off the window for Ashlon. She's got 14. James, got it.
I really don't know who can guard her in the ACC. She has been fantastic all season. This is Jackson high off the glass. Beautifully done. James with the spin. So good at her separation skills, whether it's off the bounce or her footwork, her change of pace.
That foul was a reach in on Brooks, so Oluchi to the line, 70% on the season. She has 14, her season high 20 against Wofford. But she's been getting starter minutes here at the ACC tournament after coming off the bench much of the regular season.
Well, that's been the adjustment here in the second half. Her in the starting lineup and Jackson on the top of the floor running the offense.
And now Fournier's out there with her coming off the bench for Duke, defending here on Trieger. Look at Okananwa denying the pass back to Brooks. Trieger off the dribble. And the Blue Devils a chance to tie it or take the lead. Richardson mid-range. All even, they've come back from a 14-point deficit. James pulls up. Blue Devils hunting for their first lead of this final.
They have scored each time they've thrown over the top of NC State's defense. When they've thrown the skip in the quarter court, you're naturally going to be late on a closeout, and Duke has the players to get into the mid-range.
Mayer down the left side of the lane, and the Blue Devils are in front. Outscoring State 15-6 here in the third.
NC State needs a really good piece of execution right here. The momentum of this game is completely shifted.
Brooks draws a foul.
Duke off the bounce takes the lead in the ACC Championship game, down 14, ready to go in the second half.
Plan that works for your team. In recent years, at NC State, three-peat, and then Tech. Last year it was Notre Dame. Let's revisit that last play and an injury to Rivers.
Saniya Rivers, you can see right here, trying to make that play defensively. Looks like she lands on her knee for sure. She comes up grimacing, and they're working on her over there at the timeout. NC State's been dinged up here in this title game.
She's able to come back out there. That's good news for them. Meanwhile, the Duke Blue Devils have taken charge of this game. They are up 2. The leading scorer is Oluchi Okananwa with 15 off the bench. And Oluchi right now looking very much like an MVP candidate for this ACC tournament, with the Blue Devils up 2. And Brooks trying to get it back to square. Duke looking for a 9th championship, but it's been a minute. Their last title was 2013. And for NC State, trying to get their 4th in 6 years. As we tip off this championship Sunday around women's basketball SEC's next, Big 12 after that, all coming your way on ESPN. Fournier. And now Jaden Donovan. Everybody with a touch. Fournier gets the lay-in.
Really good ball movement. Excellent execution off the dead ball timeout by Kara Lawson's team. NC State is playing that softer cover, and I kept saying that Duke was going to have to make shots, and they have been making them in the second half.
How about 70% here in this third quarter for the Blue Devils?
NC State doesn't guard beyond the three-point line, and they lock and trail on all ball screen or dribble handoff. Here, right here, get over the top, and they're in drop coverage. Now they isolate Fournier, and she travels.
This has been one of the issues with her minutes here at the ACC tournament. Kara Lawson telling her from the bench, calm it down.
Really good ball movement, getting inside NC State's defense below the free throw line, and then Rivers with a jumper.
James with 14, Brooks also in double digits with 15, Rivers with 12. The guards have shown up for NC State today.
You know Duke is going to hard hedge in the middle third. That roll's going to be open.
Brooks on the drive. Fournier with a good box.
Trieger really battling in there at 6'6". She's become so much more physical during the course of the season. Not recruited or not played in the post internationally. She's more of a face-up.
Richardson curls into the lane. Short gets her own miss. Trying to get a third opportunity. The Blue Devils crashing the glass. Jackson, they keep her on the left side, and it's knocked loose by Brooks and out of bounds off of Duke. Okananwa and Jordan Wood return for Duke. Final 2 minutes of this third quarter. And a big jump for the offense here coming out of the locker room. Good adjustments from the Blue Devils. Rivers short. Jackson. Back to her from Oluchi for three. Terrific decision.
It's really good. They're pushing to the baseline. It flattens out the defense. It allows Jackson to step into a slot three.
Her third triple. Okananwa's got a couple. And Wood had that big three to end the first half.
Just a really good job by Duke to get out on the run. Look how they push, because Brooks gambles NC State out of position, and Jackson just steps into it. Kara Lawson doing a really good job putting Jackson on the top of the floor offensively to start the second half. I thought that was the best adjustment for a different offensive package and a different look for NC State to defend.
NC State, meanwhile, 3 of 13 in this third quarter, losing the big lead. And the Blue Devils, their 9th offensive rebound, and they've got their biggest lead of the day.
Not sure that's the shot for Westmore, even though it's Aziaha James. And the long three is a leak out for the Blue Devils.
Wood finishes. Rebound and run. Timeout, Wolfpack.
Westmore did not want to burn a timeout there, and he didn't want to burn one in the first half when they couldn't inbound the basketball. The floater by Mayer. The rebound by Oluchi Okananwa, and the Blue Devils are rolling. Quick shooting is allowing Duke to get out on the run. They're shooting threes and layups and offensive rebounds. 7-0 run in the last 51 seconds. And I know Westmore did not want to burn that timeout right there with potentially the last possession of the quarter. That's how important this possession is to NC State.
Big day again for the Duke bench, led by Okananwa. And from 14 down to 7 up. A 3-touchdown swing. Jones.
Duke switching on everything.
5 on the shot clock. Zam off the bounce, drops it off for Aziaha and misses the gimme. Okananwa. And is fouled by James. They've got plenty to give. 1.2 seconds to go.
Got to make Duke come back to the basketball. Jackson.
Duke turns this around in a big third quarter, 53-46. How does this experienced NC State team respond? They go to Aziaha James.
And Okananwa is on James in the second half, Beth. Another one of those defensive adjustments for Kara Lawson's team. NC State's got to want it a little bit more on this end of the floor.
Thomas. Weak side, Donovan got over the 6'5" Wu, has to hurry and banks it in to beat the shot clock.
I think it's good, but they got to look at it.
The next dead ball, yep. Her first basket.
I'm surprised they didn't look at it now because of where we are in the game.
A 10-point Blue Devil lead.
The bench is screaming, shoot it, shoot it. Oh, maybe not, Beth. She might not have got it off.
Stands for now. James showing up early in this fourth quarter. Aziaha now with 18.
That's why they should have looked at it. It matters right now. NC State getting in a stance.
Donovan in the lane, rattles in another one.
Incredible hang time. Move without the ball.
And now James and Rivers. Saniya gets an open look and hits the three.
She was telling James to give her the ball for about 5 seconds there. A lot of red in the house, getting active.
Richardson steps behind the screen and answers with a three.
This is why Duke could be a Final Four team, because if they can make shots, we know they defend at a high level, an elite level.
They get the turnover, under 7 to play. And the foul on James.
Saniya Rivers just steps into it right here. Everyone loaded to James, worried about her off the bounce. You got to get out and contest that. Reigan Richardson, it's been a while since she's made a three.
What a second half for the Blue Devils. 66% shooting. And no signs of letting up. Again, an open look. That one won't drop for Jackson. For all these Duke Blue Devils, their first time in the finals, trying for that first championship. Rivers, too much mustard on that pass. And a couple turnovers here early for NC State.
You got to put the ball in the hands of the people that you trust right now. That's who needs to be making plays and decisions and be on the receiving end of a catch.
Boy, they are getting opportunities. Jackson with the offensive rebound and a foul.
That's a good foul by Madison Hayes. You got to make them earn it. Duke is all over the glass. They're getting whatever they want offensively.
That's 11 offensive rebounds. 9 second chance points. And now Jackson to the line.
Hayes goes to the bench. She only has 1 foul.
18 now for Ashlon. Hey, tonight, NBA Sunday for you. Starts with countdown at 7 Eastern. And then the Cavs and the Bucks tonight on ESPN. Duke has bumped this up to a 12-point lead.
You got to run some stuff for Aziaha right here. I would think she is the person NC State wants to have the ball. Duke has multiple defenders they can put on her.
Brooks drives, gets the shot blocked. And it's off of NC State. Boy, and Duke doing it on both ends.
Brooks has not had a basket here in the second half.
Jackson into the lane. No, Thomas offensive rebound. Punishing NC State on the glass.
Duke's athleticism is elite.
Sam Jones, that's in and out. And another one and done trip. And that's going to be an offensive foul with a high elbow from Delaney Thomas.
They're going to have to take a look at this because it resulted in contact to the face. They also need to go back and look at that shot clock as well.
As we go to commercial break, the officials will be reviewing this play, and we're back to the ACC Championship in a moment. They were also checking on whether or not it was a shot clock violation earlier in the quarter. Yeah, they are still hard at work over there at the scorer's table. This was counted as a two-pointer. Ooh, that is close. That's
really
fingertip.
close.
That's a nail. They might take that one back. Looks like contact with the index finger still, possibly. Remember, it was called a good two-pointer.
You go clock, light, horn with the big clock. With the shot clock, it's the horn and the light. It's a different rule.
That's Sam Jones going back to the locker room.
As far as the upgrade on the foul, I think they're going to upgrade it. It's an intentional foul. It's going to be 2 free throws. Any shooter, because they're going to consider that elbow to be excessive.
Especially with Jones out of the game. Joe Vasili with perhaps a couple of decisions here for us.
The Duke made field goal at 8:40 has been canceled. It's a shot clock violation.
So it's back to
The
a
last play
10-point
that
game.
was reviewed is a personal foul on Duke. NC State ball underneath the basket.
So they didn't upgrade it. Usually they do upgrade it in that situation.
So they have not yet taken the points off the scoreboard. And now we're good at 65-53. 12-point game, under 5 to go for the championship. The first of 3 today. The SEC's up next, the Big 12 after that. Rivers almost got an and one.
Going to get to the free throw line, stop the clock, put some points on the board. NC State will probably put some pressure on Duke in the backcourt here.
Duke outscoring State here in the second half, 36-17.
See Zam Jones back on the bench with a face mask on, a temporary looking face mask.
And coming up next, it is the SEC Championship game between the regular season co-champs. It's Texas and South Carolina, potential Final Four preview there. And then the Phillips 66 Big 12 Championship, Baylor and TCU. TCU solid to host. Baylor trying to grab a top 16 seed for the NCAA tournament. NC State is a 2 right now in all likelihood. Duke might be playing for a 2 seed if they win this title. They're on the cusp as a 3 right now. Jackson, short, and it's another offensive rebound. Duke making the hustle plays here in the 4th. And Okananwa ties her career high with 22.
Now there's got to be a sense of urgency for NC State. They have got to pick up the tempo offensively, push, look to score quickly. And they're jogging through their actions.
James with the spin, short. And then she fouls Okananwa.
You wonder if NC State would have the same energy with their lack of depth in the second half to match what Duke has been able to do. And Duke has been on the glass. They've pushed in tempo. They've been very good defensively.
And offensively, they have been in rhythm.
And they have made shots.
Big second half continues. James one and done. And the Blue Devils revving it up. Fournier fouled.
What a swing. What an incredible job by Duke and Kara Lawson in the second half. I said when Nina King, the athletic director, hired Kara Lawson, I thought by the time she got to her 5th year, she could be a Final Four contending team. I felt that way watching them all season because their defense is elite. And if they would be able to make enough shots. Well, they've made shots here in the second half.
They sure have. To the tune of 59% from the floor. 41-18 here in the second half.
That's not all fatigue by NC State either. That's Duke's energy, effort, and connected team play on both ends of the floor.
They're 3 minutes and 19 seconds away from the ring. To the ACC on ESPN. 3:19 to play, and the Duke Blue Devils closing in on a 9th ACC championship and their first in 12 years. Oh, so close to a regular season title. A couple of years ago, they lost it on the last day of the regular season to North Carolina. And now, trying to grab that first ACC championship under Kara Lawson. Okananwa, a likely MVP with her performance here in Greensboro, tying her career high with 22 off the bench today. Looking to join the likes of Georgia Schweitzer and Elena Beard, Isis Tillis and Jasmine Thomas with titles and an MVP trophy. NC State in full scramble mode now. Brooks. And just too much of the Blue Devils.
Too much Duke Blue today for the NC State Red. Just so active and athletic. Great job by Kara Lawson and her staff in the second half to do this right here. Put Jackson at the point, start Oluchi Okananwa in the second half, And NC State just never matched the energy.
And they are poster children for it's not about the first time, it's about the last time you see somebody. They avenge a loss to North Carolina late in the regular season. They take down Louisville after they lost to them in the regular season here. Yesterday, after a loss to Notre Dame in the regular season, down go the Irish. And now, looking like they're gonna go 4 for 4 on their Avengers tour and take down NC State after losing to them in the regular season. Stick around after the championship game. It's Nothing But Net live here from Greensboro. Kelsey and the crew will wrap things up for you. And why not add to your offensive rebound tally? It's been a difference maker today.
Absolutely.
Final 2 minutes.
Incredible job on the glass. 14 offensive rebounds to NC State's 4. And Duke has out-rebounded NC State by 20 in the game.
All after NC State led in the first half by 14 points. NC State coming into the day, bracketology has them as the 6th best seed. That's a number 2. They'll probably stay on that line. But the committee now will have to examine Duke because the teams in front of them are TCU and LSU. LSU's already lost in the SEC tournament.
Right, and that means that if you stick with the S curve, that changes some things around the ACC and other leagues with these multiple power conferences. I mean, look at Louisville. They're right now a 7. They can't stay on the 7 line with 3 2s from the ACC, right? They have to move to the 6.
I would imagine, too, with this kind of strength at the top of the league, that's got to help Virginia Tech maybe grab the last spot in the tournament as Trieger hits and a quick timeout here with 1:20 to go. Let's check out today's player resume, brought to you by Indeed.
8 for 13, 10 boards to go along with a career-high 22 points for Oluchi Okananwa. Came off the bench in the first half, started in the second half, guarded Aziaha James as well with those offensive numbers, and what a time to put your career high on the line right here. 5th career double-double.
That's your player resume, brought to you by Indeed.
Impressive.
And that goes with 13 against Louisville in their first game here, 14 against Notre Dame yesterday. We ever had an MVP off the bench at the ACC tournament?
I don't think so.
Maybe a first. See what the voters think.
Last year she was the 6th player of the year in this league.
Full court press. NC State needs to steal and score a bunch here, and they're going to get whistled for the offensive foul. Another gem of a defensive showing after they held Notre Dame yesterday 29 points below their season average. They're holding NC State 20 below theirs right now as Okananwa gets a standing O from the Duke crowd. Final minute. Stick around. Got the SEC final coming up next with Texas and South Carolina. What do you think, Debbie? South Carolina and Texas coming up.
Oh, wow. Can't wait. Excited. I mean, Joyce Edwards has played so well for as another freshman off the bench. Texas newcomers to the SEC. He's going to be playing in a packed house full of Gamecocks down there in Greenville.
Of course, the defending national champs. Dawn Staley trying for a 9th SEC title in 11
Yeah, it's
years.
impressive. It's very impressive. Coach Staley has done a marvelous job there. And you know what? Vic Schaefer's got back-to-back 30-win seasons. So
Coach of the year in the league with the Player of the Year, Madison Booker. So that's on deck. And now Mayer, this all just icing on that Blue Devil cake. Okananwa will come back. Mayer now checks out, gets a standing O. What a job by the Blue Devils. They never hung their heads, down big in the first half by double digits. And a major rally in the second half to put this one away, and they will upset the 2 seed in the semis and the 1 seed in the finals to wear the crown in the Atlantic Coast Conference.
30-second timeout.
I think Coach Lawson is coaching to the bitter end here.
And they are set to hang their first banner since 2013.
What a job by Carol Lawson's team and her staff. She's got a bunch of veterans over there and some head coaches on her bench. Kyra Elzy was at Kentucky last year. Tia Jackson, Karen Lang.
Continuing the rich tradition of success at Duke.
Karen Middleton.
Yeah. Joanne P. McCauley coached them to the win with Elizabeth Williams 12 years ago, and prior to that under Gail Gestincourt, the run of 5 in a row from 2000 to 2004, anchored by the great Elena Beard, who's headed into the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame this year. And just how far can these two teams go? NC State was in the Final Four last year. Can they get back? Can Duke make a run at it? We'll find out where they sit in the bracket on Selection Sunday, a week from today. Jackson misfires. And the Duke Blue Devils with a big second half comeback. Just a quick timeout for a substitution, I believe, here. And for Reigan Richardson, the senior from Charlotte, a big hand and a hug from the coach. Ashlon Jackson, fabulous again today with 22. And the 2025 Atlantic Coast Conference champions, for the first time in 12 years, the Duke Blue Devils win it all.